Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be talking about how to make an accurate final impression. So, even before we move ahead with fabrication or formation of a secondary impression, we have to fabricate a custom tray, which is fabricated onto the primary cast you achieve out of the primary impression. While fabricating a custom tray, make sure that you are giving a distance of 2 millimeters between the tray and the surface. Once the tray is fabricated, you have to verify the same in the patient's mouth. As in when I start talking about the procedure, I would be talking about this in detail. The first step towards achieving a final impression is molding the borders. The procedure is called as border molding. It can be achieved in two steps. Either it can be sectional or it can be a single step procedure. So sectional procedure, as a beginner, if you are a beginner, you can resort to this procedure because this will be more suitable for you. The material that you are using is moldable. You can mold it over and over again. So you can wait till you achieve a satisfactory border molding and then you can go ahead with the next section of the border molding. Then you have a single step procedure that the experienced practitioner go ahead with. Here you make use of elastomeric impression material. You can make use of heavy body putty and then you can just put it over the border. I will be talking about this in detail. And then you can directly go ahead and manipulate the patient's oral mucosa to achieve a very good impression. Talking about the steps through which you can achieve a proper border molding. So it starts with assessing the tray in the patient's mouth. You have already assessed it over the dental cast. You have to assess it over the tray as well. You have already assessed it over the dental cast. You need to verify the same in the patient's mouth. What we can see in the first picture is the frenum area has been relieved properly, and that between the extreme end of the tray and the mucobuccal fold, we have a distance of approximately 2 millimeter. So this 2 millimeter is required so that you can place a border molding material, and the thickness of the material, height and thickness of the material would be good enough to achieve a properly molded borders for your complete denture. Once you have verified that there is enough space between your tray and the mucobuccal fold, you have to go ahead with the extension. In case of maxillary, make sure your tray is reaching up to the hamelin notch and covering the maxillary tuberosity completely. And in case of the mandible, make sure you're covering the retromolar pad completely. Once both of this has been achieved, your tray design can be verified and you can go ahead with checking the stability of the tray. The tray is customized. It's closely adapting to the patient's ridges. So once it is placed, it will be stable. So what we see over here is slight movement that is happening after placing the tray. When the tray is placed like this, it should be stable in the mouth. Once you achieve this step as well, you know that your tray is ready to be border molded. So here we are going to talk about sectional border molding. So in the sectional border molding, what we can do in case of maxilla is we should start with the anterior most region. When I'm saying anterior most region, essentially what I want you to cover here is the labial frenum and the labial flange area. You have to soften the low fusing impression compound, or what is commonly called as green stick compound. You have to soften it under the flame and you have to place it evenly in the labial flange area. Make sure at this point you're not covering the buccal frenum. Just place it in the anterior region. You have to take the tray back into the patient's mouth and you have to manipulate the lips again. Now the manipulation part of this particular video will be discussed in another video as a part of patient demonstration. You can find the link in the description box and we'll move ahead. Once the manipulation of the anterior section has been completed and you are satisfied with the molded borders, you can move ahead with the next section, which includes the buccal frenum and the buccal flange area, which will go all the way till the hamelin notch. This would include the distobuccal aspect of the flange as well. This should be inserted into the patient's mouth. Again, the manipulation of the tissue should be done. Go ahead with addition on the next side of the same areas. Again, manipulate it, and we'll go ahead with recording the PPS. Now I'll be talking about recording the PPS in detail in this video itself, and the demonstration, as I said, will be available in the other video. Link is there in the description. Please go and you can check it out. Once the tray has been fabricated, you will go ahead and assess the same in the patient's mouth. You'll see if there is enough space between the extreme extent of the tray and between the mucobuccal fold, and you'll see where the tray is going to end. As and when I start talking about the final impression procedure, I'll be explaining this thing in detail. Before we take the final impression, the border has to be molded. So we can achieve this by a process called as border molding. Now, border molding can be achieved either in a sectional fashion or in a single step. So sectional fashion, if you're a beginner, then you can resort to this step, because the material that we are using in this particular step is low fusing impression compound. It gives you the liberty of molding and remolding it as many times as you please, and you can go ahead with the next section, or you can go ahead with recording the final impression only after you achieve a satisfactory border molding. While in case of single step, this is what experienced practitioners they prefer to go ahead with when they do a border molding procedure. That is because this is less time consuming, and it is also patient friendly. It takes less chairside time, and the number of time that you are inserting the tray and taking it out of the patient's mouth can be curtailed. Moving on with the procedure of the final impression. So as I said, the tray, you have already checked it onto the cusp. Next you are going to check it onto the in the patient's mouth. So here what we have to do is we have to check the frenum area. Here what we'll be doing is we'll be checking the frenum area first. We'll make sure that the frenums are relieved, and after that, once the frenums are relieved, we have assured that we are going to check the distance that is there. We are going to make sure if 2 millimeter of distance is there between the extreme end of the custom tray and your mucobuccal fold. Once that also has been verified, you'll go ahead and check the extension of the tray, which is very important to record the peripheral tissues as well. In case of maxilla, you should make sure that the tray extension is till the hamular notch and that it covers the maxillary tuberosity. In case of mandible, we are going to make sure that the tray extension reaches the retromolar pad. Moving on to the border molding procedure, we'll be today talking about the sectional procedure. So in the sectional border molding procedure, we always start with the anterior section. The anterior section will essentially involve the labial frenum and the labial flanges. So make sure that the material is applied only in this area and it doesn't extend to the buccal frenum. Once you mold this section, you have to take the tray to the patient's mouth and you have to mold that particular region, which can be achieved by extending the lips outwards, then taking it downwards and inwards. Repeat it 2 or 3 times and then your borders will be molded. Once the molded borders look satisfactory to you, you can move ahead with the next section, which could be either the right or the left side, and it will essentially include the buccal frenum, the buccal flange and the distobuccal area of the labial flange. For achieving a proper molded area in this particular region, you have to take the cheeks outwards, downwards and inwards. Do this rotation movements 2-3 times and the borders will be molded. Now, just like the PPS, even the distobuccal area is very important determining factor for the retention of the upper denture that has to be molded accurately. And we also have the coronoid process of the mandible that will restrict the border molding if a particular movement of the mandible is not done. So once the cheek movement for border molding has been done, ask your patient to move the mandible, slightly open the mandible and then move the mandible side to side. So what will happen, the impression of the coronoid onto the distobuccal area will be recorded, and this will prevent the dislodging of the denture, the maxillary denture, every time the patient tries to open his mouth wide. This is one area where many practitioners they lack, and the patients they always come back complaining that every time I open my mouth wide to eat or to laugh, my upper dentures are dislodging. So to make sure the distobuccal area is recorded properly. Next, you can move ahead and record the other side as well with the same manipulation procedures of the cheek and the mandible. Once you are satisfied with the border molding of both the sides of the buccal flanges, you can move ahead with the recording of PPS. Now, this area is very important because this is the primary factor where you're going to achieve retention in maxillary complete denture. So PPS is the posterior most area which will give you the post-stem. Recording the post-stem or the posterior palatal seal area is very important when you're making final impression for a complete denture. That is because this is the main determining factor of retention that you'll be achieving in your final processes. So to achieve that, this is what we do. First, take a T-burnisher, and with the help of the T-burnisher, you'll be marking the hamular notches over here. And after the hamular notches has been marked, you'll be marking the posterior vibrating line. For marking the posterior vibrating line, you have to ask your patient to say "ah" in an unexaggerated fashion. And then once the posterior vibrating line has been marked, you go ahead and mark the anterior vibrating line. So this cupid shaped line that you see is our anterior vibrating line. It is cupid shaped because there is projection of the posterior nasal spine over here, which gives the anterior vibrating line this kind of a peculiar shape. Now, how can we record the anterior vibrating line? For the same, we have two techniques. First, we already know there is Valsalva maneuver. I'll be demonstrating that for you in the next video. Second is something that I'll be explaining now. You can ask your patient to say "ah" in a vigorous fashion. So for the posterior line, it will be "ah" in an unexaggerated fashion. In the for recording the anterior vibrating line, you should ask your patient to say "ah" in an exaggerated fashion. Once that is done, you can just transfer this marking onto the custom tray, and then you can sectionally add material over there, the green stick compound over there. Again, take the tray back to the patient's mouth, tilt the patient's head by 45 degrees, and again ask the patient to perform the same movement. The patient is supposed to say "ah" in an exaggerated fashion. Once the intraoral markings have been made, transfer it to your custom tray, add green stick in the prescribed areas, and you can again ask the patient to tilt their head by 45 degrees and say "ah" in an exaggerated fashion. This will make sure that the PPS is recorded onto the green stick compound. Once this is done, the entire border molding has been satisfactorily recorded according to you. You can go ahead and make the final impression. Next is border molding of the mandibular ridges. Again, you have to check the fit of the tray, you have to check the extent, the stability of the tray, everything. If it looks good, you can go ahead with the sectional addition of the green stick compound. In this case, you have to start with adding the green stick compound in the anterior region. Again, cover the labial frenum, cover the labial phalanges, take it back to the patient's mouth and manipulate the patient's lips in such a way that you are going to extend the lips outwards, upwards and inwards. The border gets molded. Move ahead to the next area wherein you'll be including the buccal frenum and the buccal phalanges, and again manipulate the cheeks, pull the cheeks outward, upward and inward. The borders would be molded. Repeat the same on the other side as well. When it looks satisfactory on the buccal area, move on to the lingual area. In the lingual area, you'll start with manipulation of the anterior lingual area. Add the material, place the tray in the patient's mouth, and for the anterior lingual area, you're going to ask your patient to press the tongue against the anterior region of the palate. When the patient presses the tongue against the anterior region of the palate, the anterior lingual area gets molded. Next, you'll go ahead and you'll add the material in the posterior region, whatever is remaining, on both the sides simultaneously, and then you're going to place the tray in the patient's mouth. Ask the patient to move the lip side to side, or alternatively you can ask the patient to try and touch the lips to the inner aspect of the cheeks on both the sides. Ask the patient to touch their tongue to the inner aspect of the cheeks on both the sides. This will help to mold the distal most area of the lingual sulcus. Next, once the entire border molding is completed and it looks satisfactory, you will achieve something like this. Once you have achieved a satisfactory border molding of the mandibular tray, go ahead with the final impression. That was about sectional technique. Talking about the single step technique, as mentioned, you can go ahead with heavy body material injected directly onto the borders, as we can see in the picture. And and you can directly put it into the patient's mouth, do all the manipulatory procedures of the oral mucosa and the cheeks which are mentioned for sectional technique. Just that unlike in sectional technique, you'll have to do it all at one go. You'll have to complete the procedures of the anterior, posterior and the lingual region all at once, and you'll achieve a satisfactory border molding. After that is done, you can go ahead and take the final impression with the help of elastomeric impression material. Now the tray that you see over here, it do not have inherent adhesive property for silicone impression material, so it is very important that you use a tray adhesive. How do we use a tray adhesive now? So using a tray adhesive, you should make sure that you're coating the tray adhesive on the borders such that you'll cover 6 millimeters of the internal border and 3 millimeters on the external aspect of the border, and then you're good to go. Put the material, record the borders and move ahead with the final impression. Now we'll be talking about how to record the final impression once the border molding is completed. We have placed a spacer into the custom tray, as we all might be knowing. Just remove the spacer, and wherever the spacer was given, you should give relief holes. In this picture, the spacer that is given is a T spacer. It includes only the anterior region. So you'll see that relief holes are placed only in the anterior area. Even in the mandible, relief holes are present only in the anterior area. If you're going to go ahead with a full spacer, make sure you're giving relief holes in the mid-palatine region, in the anterolateral and the posterolateral region of the hard palate, and on the ridges. So to just make this sound simple, basically wherever the spacer has been given, make sure you're giving relief holes all over. The main function of this relief hole is so that the impression material that is excess can flow out. If it doesn't flow out, it's going to put undue pressure onto the ridges. It will displace your tissue, and the recorded impression will be in a compressed state, which we don't want. It is going to unseat your denture. So wherever you have given spacer, make sure you're going to give relief holes as well. Once you have given the relief holes, you can go ahead and mix the choice of material which you feel would be appropriate according to the health condition of the patient's ridges. Mix it, apply it a very thin layer onto the tray, and make sure you're covering the entire border molded material as well. Place it into the patient's mouth and manipulate the entire tissues just how you had manipulated while border molding, and you get a very good wash impression or the final impression. Once the final impression has been made, it is very important to evaluate the impression. Evaluate it properly. There shouldn't be any voids. The impression that you make should be a wash impression. Wash impression as in a very thin layer of impression material only should be present. If it is thick, you'll know that it's time to redo the impression. If there are voids, or if any area has been underextended, or if it's not recorded properly, just redo the impression, and once you achieve a satisfactory impression, you can go ahead with the next procedure of complete denture fabrication. That was all about border molding and final impression. That was all about border molding and final impression. I hope this session was informative for you. I know that there are certain areas where I have spoken about manipulatory part of the procedure. It becomes very difficult to just explain it with the help of pictures, because of which I have made another video, a demonstration sort of video, wherein you will get a better idea of how to manipulate the tissue in order to record a particular aspect in the border molding. So I'll be putting the link in the description box. Do go ahead and check. And if you have any queries, any doubts, please get back to me in the comment section. Thank you.